upcoming search for a new park district director for the Fargo Park Board. Jerry Rostad is with us. Jerry is the president of the Fargo Park Board. Jerry, thanks for joining us.
Good morning. Thanks for having me.
How long have you been on the park board?
3 years and a few months.
What motivated you to do public service?
Primarily, just that's it, public service. I think it's important to be a volunteer and help out in your community. I do a few different things volunteer-wise in the community. I'm with the Roger Maris Golf Tournament. I help out with FM Athletics and youth football. And so, I just think it's important that to give something back to the community. There were people ahead of me who helped set things up so my kids went through it. And so I'm trying to give back and set things up so the future generations will have great experiences with the Fargo Park District.
That's great. Let's talk a little bit about replacing Joel Vettel, who headed the organization. You have a search underway or soon we'll have a search underway for a new park district director. Talk a little bit about what you're looking for.
Well, we're looking for somebody that's got some experience in the parks and recreation, but we're also looking for somebody that's a visionary person and somebody who makes sure the lights stay on and the day-to-day operations run. So, a little bit of everything that we want. Obviously, we put a job description together, and you hope you get most of what's in the job description. But, we need somebody. There's a lot of things happening in the Fargo Park District right now, and we just want to make sure we get the best possible candidate in there to lead us into the future.
What kind of a process will this be? How long do you think it'll take?
I'm estimating that we should have somebody identified probably by the end of the year or shortly thereafter, with the Christmas holiday and the Thanksgiving holiday built in there. It might make scheduling things a little bit more of a challenge, but, I think we can get her done and have somebody identified by the first of the year or shortly thereafter.
And how do you go about it? You have a search committee, you do interviews. Talk a little bit about this, the process of getting down to a set of finalists and then voting on a candidate.
Right. We've got a search committee set up, and they'll take the first look at the candidates we get in. The position has been out there for about a week. The position will be open through the 25th of October. After that, the search committee will start taking a look at the candidate pool and narrowing it down. Once we get to a list of finalists, we'll identify them. Public law states we have to identify our finalists. We'll bring those finalists in. We'll have some public forums so the community can come in and hear what they have to say. They'll talk about their vision and their plans for the future of the Fargo Park District. We'll have the opportunity for public feedback. We'll do the same with the staff. We'll set up some opportunities for the staff to meet and greet these candidates. And then the park board, the 5-member board, will take that feedback, and we'll try to be as transparent as possible, get as much information out there as we can, and provide opportunity for as much input. And then the park board will decide on who that next leader will be.
Dave Leaker is the deputy and now the interim director, right?
Correct.
And do we know if he's going to be interested in the position?
Dave has indicated that he will be submitting an application. So, yeah, we've got one applicant so far that we're aware of.
And an internal candidate there as well. So,
yes. And there might be some other internals in there as well. I'm not sure. And then we also, I think the most important thing is we want to do as broad of a search as possible to try and get the best possible candidate. Maybe internal, maybe external. We just don't know what's out there. We know what we have internally, and that's all well and good, and that's solid. And we just owe it to the citizens of Fargo to do the due process and get the best possible candidate out there.
Talk a little bit about what's on the table, if you will, at the park district. Obviously, when you have a change at the top, I think some people assume there's some unrest there, some turmoil. But I'm guessing you would argue that there's a lot of good things that have happened, and it just needs somebody in place, and you implement a lot of those.
Absolutely.
In other words, you're not starting from scratch here. You're taking a series of initiatives that just need a leader to implement, correct?
Yeah, so the trains have been running on time ever since I got on the board. None of that has really changed. It's a testament to the staff out at the Fargo Park District. They're the ones that make sure that the grass is getting cut, the trails are getting snow moved, and we've got some big projects coming up online here. Block 8 or Block 9 downtown Fargo will be online here about this time next year, and that's we're estimating to program that thing every single week of the year. And so that's going to be a big increase in change and a presence for the Fargo Park District. We've been talking about a sports complex that will involve indoor turf, ice, courts, workout facilities, walking track. That's probably the biggest project the Fargo Park District has ever taken on, and so that's starting to come to fruition. So, we've got those new projects, and then we also have existing infrastructure that we need to maintain and continue to improve and make it available for the next 50 years for the next generation to come.
You mentioned a couple things I want to ask you about there. Block 9, I'd forgotten that, I guess, that the outside space of Block 9, right in front of the along Broadway there, will be a Fargo Park project.
That'll be a Fargo Park project, Fargo Park District facility.
Yeah, and you mentioned program, events. What does it mean to program? When you program a piece of space, what are you doing with it?
Well, we'll have events down there. So in the winter time, we'll have ice. We'll have artificial ice, so we don't have to worry about the weather cooperating, whether it's too warm in the winter or too cold. So there'll be opportunities for skating. We'll have a turf out there for the summer, so we don't have to worry about the grass getting beat up. And then we'll just have events. We'll program with some of the stuff that already goes on, like the street fair and things like that. But then we'll also bring other events to the downtown area. And, that really will become an iconic place, I think, to tie in with the Fargo Theater and everything else that's going on downtown. It'll become a destination. I'm convinced of that.
And that is something that's going to be year-round?
Yes, year-round. We'll be doing different things down there over the course of the entire year. In fact, we'll be looking now in the next coming months to get some staff on board to start focusing in on programming Block 9.
That's going to be neat. That whole project's just really, one of those very rare projects that come along every now and then that have a lot of fun things to it that certainly will be a showpiece. You mentioned the sports complex. So is this a new, totally separate from anything that currently exists indoor complex?
Yes. It's we're projecting it to be south of the Walmart on 52nd Avenue South. It's going to have, we're looking at the indoor turf, probably a soccer field size, which is a little bit bigger than a traditional football field. So we'll be able to program indoor turf year round on that place. And then tied in with the facility will be indoor ice. We've got room for 2 sheets of ice. It could grow to 3. And we're doing the fundraising right now, and depending upon the fundraising and the gifts that we receive, we may start with 1 sheet of ice and grow it to 2 or 3. And then we also have basketball courts or volleyball courts. And it's kind of similar to the facility down at Sioux Falls that Sanford was involved in there. Sanford's one of our partners, and they're involved. They've already identified a gift for us to help get this going. Shields is on board. FMCVB is on board. And we're working with some others, and there will be announcements forthcoming as we secure additional gifts to get that facility built. And
size-wise, how big is that going to be?
Probably in the neighborhood of 200,000 to 250,000 square feet. So it's going to be a big facility. It's going to be another one of those destination places. We'll be able to program basketball tournaments and volleyball tournaments in there instead of having our kids get in the car and drive to Sioux Falls or drive to Minneapolis. We're going to have events right here. It's going to be good for restaurants. It's going to be good for hotels. It's going to be good for retail. It's just going to be good for the city of Fargo. And then the other piece of it that's great about it is, we build it big enough to, attract people to come into the community, but then we have the facility available for community. So, if we build something like this that will be great for some of the things we've already done in the Park District more recently, like with baseball, we've done a lot of things with Fargo Youth Baseball. And if anybody's been paying attention to how our baseball people have done this year, the Legion team, made it to the national championship game. The Babe Ruth team made it undefeated season, won a national championship. And some of those, I like to attribute some of that work that in partnership that Fargo Youth Baseball and Fargo Park District have had to build out some facilities that then give our kids an opportunity to have better facilities.
Yeah, that's the fruits of the labor.
Exactly.
Right there. Jerry Rostad, Fargo Park Board President, talking about the process of hiring a new executive director for the Park District and also a little bit more about some of the projects that are on the table. Thanks for the update.
You bet. Thanks for having me.
Appreciate it very much. We'll take a quick break here, come back with more on What's on Your Mind, brought to you in part today